Check, check. There we go. My bad, guys. So, my name is Kenneth, and welcome to my show, Unhinged or Unimpressed. Um, Today we're going to talk about some shit that's like not you don't typically hear about unless you're paying attention to it inside the media. And even then, you don't hear a whole lot about certain things that are happening there unless you're really fine combing everything that's happening over there. So, in my opinion, there's a lot of stuff that happened as of recently, and I think we can all relate. The Charlie Kirk situation, pretty sensitive subject, uh, pretty big fucking ripple. But I just want to point some things out, guys and gals, and everyone in between there. That historically, when something major has been happening out there, out east, you know, or when it comes to racial segregation or anything like that. Um, some fucked up like an assassination happens to happen, you know, and this does happen a lot, and you can go look it up yourself. Historically, it is there. We got Abraham Lincoln, we got JFK, and now we've got like Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk wasn't that kind of a person who is going for equality and stuff like that. So like I personally don't give a fuck about him. Um, I think it's fucked up and wrong that he was assassinated the way that he was. He was a young man with his kids and his young family and stuff, and everyone's entitled to that. And I feel for his kids going to be raised up without their father and stuff like that. And I feel for that immensely to the soul. The guy was a fucking prick, though. Okay, and I don't want to focus too much on that because that's the whole point. You know, it's a gigantic distraction as to what is happening over there in the Middle East. And it's not just the Middle East, it's the entire East. There is an immense amount of stuff happening over there, man, with the genocide in Israel. They're going around just like fucking murdering everyone over there. They're going, oh, this is my land. Fuck you. We're going to make it all Jewish again. Make Israel Jewish again. And that's what's fucking happening over there. We're going to just take back everything over there. Fuck Palestine. Fuck all you guys. Fuck Gaza. Fuck Qatar. Fuck your children. Fuck your women. I don't give a fuck. Fuck your hospitals. Like, when the fuck did we become okay with that? You know? They're sounding a lot like Nazi Germany. And it's kind of fucking bullshit. It's a war that's been going on for a long time, and it's a war that, frankly, in my opinion, none of our fucking business. I'm not for the genocide. I'm 100% for stepping in preventing genocide, but we don't need to go in there choosing sides and helping one beat the other one up. For a long time, people in the Middle East have been living in harmony in places like Jordan. Where if you're Muslim or if you're, Jewish, it doesn't matter. They lived in harmony. In Dubai, they have, I forget what it's called over there, but they have a new worship center where it's got a synagogue, a mosque, and a church all together. You know, and they all worship there, and it's a beautiful thing. But for some fucked up reason, everyone's all hung up on killing every Muslim out Middle East and just allowing Israel to take over. And that's wrong. Historically, we have stopped genocide or have tried to. We've unfortunately historically have stepped in a lot too late. We got things in Rwanda, like that was really fucked up. We got the Holocaust, obviously. We got things that's happening in Qatar. We have the residential schools, not just here in Canada, but in the US. They also happen in Australia and stuff like that, anything that was part of the Commonwealth. So, and there's a lot more in there as well. There's historically a lot more genocide, and it's really fucked up. And it's kind of like we're just okay with it. It's like we haven't learned our lesson. We haven't learned to stop just fucking killing each other. Let the children grow up and have a life. What happening to just being together, just being happy and whole. You know, if you want to go biblical times, there was a time even where we had the Tower of Babel and we were all building it together. You know, and then we were casted down and all our tongues were confused. It's kind of bullshit. I'm just saying, if you didn't do that, maybe we'd all be getting along together. I don't know. Um, so I'm gonna show you some shit here as to what's going on over there in the Middle East and just the East in general. And I think that I'm hoping that maybe you'll see and understand what I mean by us being so distracted by what's happening with the Charlie Kirk situation. Yes, it is fucked up. Yes, there's a lot of controversy behind it. You know, there's a lot of belief that you know, maybe Charlie Kirk, he isn't actually dead. Maybe that was a really good body double and he went into hiding. You know, maybe because he was too afraid, because he opened his mouth too much. You know, that was one thing I heard. Maybe it was set up by Donald Trump's own security. You know, that's another one that I heard. I heard that it was a CIA secret psyop, you know, to go after him, and that's why we saw all the hand gestures and stuff like that. I've heard that there's multiple shooters, you know, and if you go and research any of them, they all come out sounding pretty credible in some ways, and it's fucking fascinating how we come to that, you know. But I think the one thing that hopefully we can all understand and see here is, again, historically, um, the U.S. is kind of veiled in conspiracy theories. You know, we have 9/11. That was a big time thing in our life. You know, everyone believes it's an inside job these days. You know, some people don't, but there's a lot that shows that it is. You know, everything in Iraq, Afghanistan. WMDs when there wasn't actually WMDs, and instead it was just fucking oil and shit that they wanted. Um, there's a long list of shit, and I'm just saying, I wouldn't put it past them to have something like this happen on purpose to distract from what's happening out east and stuff. You know, hey, look over here. You know, the radical left. You know, no, look at the radical right. And it's just like, you guys are all fucking stupid. Like, the first thing that orange fucking Cheeto said when it came out, there was the radical left. Like, he instantly weaponized it. Instantly weaponized it. You know, I've heard that the shooter is like a Republican. Some people say no, he's just a registered voter and he voted Republican, and he's got a trans partner. You know, like, I don't give a fuck if they have a trans partner. I don't care if they're gay, bi, non-binary. I don't really give a shit. You know, I'm 36 years old. It's 2025. Historically, let's go back to ancient times. Let's go back to ancient Rome. Let's look at, you know, Troy. Let's look at, I don't know, all that kind of stuff where men dressed up very frequently at nighttime. They wore makeup. Men like banged other men, and that was for pleasure, and women were for copulation. Historically, it's been there for a long time. Just like prostitution being like the oldest trade in the world. You know, they sell their pussy and their ass, they made good fucking money. You know, when men went on long fucking journeys and they went to war and they got fucking horny, they weren't always going around banging chicks. They definitely started fucking each other, and you can see that historically. So, you know, 2025, you know, um, like in modern day, AD, I whatever, um, it shouldn't be a surprise that we're still there. It's not like we evolved past it. It's always been there. If anything, we regressed it and brought it back. You know, so that's my opinion about that bullshit. So, anyways, the stuff with Charlie Kirk is shitty. It's sad, but I believe it's a big distraction as to what's happening out there. And what's happening out there is pretty big. I'm going to show you some clips here, and you'll see them, and then we'll come back to each other and we'll talk a little bit more. And I don't know, man. I really want people to pay attention a little more, because what's going to happen over there, if we don't pay attention, it's going to be fucking terrifying. It will be scary for you. It'll be scary for me. It'll be scary for the rest of the world. Because what's going to happen next is not only are we going to see like a massive genocide, but there is a huge power shift that's happening over there right now. And I mean huge. You know, we have a massive alliance happening between Russia and China and Korea and India and stuff like that. And the funny thing is, I predicted this like 10 years ago. Deanne, if you're out there, I hope that you can just like reach out and verify that I called this shit out a long time ago. And I told everyone so. So fuck everyone who doubted me for not fucking listening. I fucking told you so. Um, they're all gathering together. They're making an alliance together. They are sick and tired of the U.S. They're just gonna start doing whatever the fuck they want. Between Russia and China getting together, the craziness of North Korea, you know, like fuck, man. God only knows what's gonna happen over there. You know, we already have, and we have seen it. We have seen Chinese balloons flying over all of Canada and the U.S. and stuff like that. We've had Russia fly by the dew line. You know, NORAD, picked them up. And we got signaled up here in Canada when they did their flyby a few years ago, and they're doing it again over Alaska. And we're seeing a lot of history repeat. And we're all being distracted at this other shit. And I'm telling you guys, there is a storm coming, and nobody is prepared for what's going to happen. Those of you that are prepared, I'm very excited for you. Good job. You got your bunkers, you got yourself set, you're good to go. Currently, as you can see, I live alternatively. This is a yurt by Vivor. Probably one of the best things I've ever had. They're super dope. But myself, I just bought myself a tiny home. I'm getting that shit converted, and I'm getting that shit ready, prepared to be completely self-sufficient and off-grid. I'm getting myself ready. Shit's crazy, man. I even have this really handy-dandy, get over here, you son of a bitch, hand radio by Bofang. This thing here, it's got like, it's like a 3-foot antenna, and I've got every channel on it, including the ISS, and I've got like every other emergency station on there as well. So when that time comes and I can go squirrel out and do what I want, I'll be set. And I hope that you guys get yourself set as well. I'm not really one to try and pry conspiracy theories or anything like that, but like, this is history happening, right? And it is repeating itself. And we have seen this before. Except for right now, we live in a day and age of nuclear weapons, and not just nuclear weapons, supersonic and hypersonic weapons. And yes, that sounds super futuristic and it sounds ridiculous, and you might be like, oh, whatever, I don't think so. Go fucking look it up yourself. Like, don't sit there and complain. I want you to go fucking look it up yourself. YouTube, supersonic weapons, hypersonic weapons, Russian supersonic weapons. Look up that shit. Chinese hypersonic weapons. Look that stuff up. Look what they're doing. Look what they have been doing. Look what China's planning on doing with the moon and stuff like that. There's going to be bases that'll be built up there and everything. And yes, we have like an alliance built where we're not supposed to have intergalactic wars and all that kind of shit. But like, let's be honest, man. Nobody gives a shit anymore. All anyone wants is to be number one. They just want to be the number one power. And that's scary. And yeah, America, big, strong. Oh, America, smash everything. But you're not going to be able to smash everything that they dish out. I'm sorry. You're not. Anyways, I want you to check these clips out.
Living, as you described, surrounded by Palestinian Arabs from this community in East Jerusalem?
Well, I feel it's a privilege, okay, living here, because the first reason is making all Yerushalayim, all Jerusalem, to be Jewish. That's like one of our aims, and to live overlooking the holiest site, overlooking the Temple Mount.
Or do you have to actually destroy one of those Islamic sites in order to build the temple?
We cannot have a mosque together with the third temple together. It just doesn't go together.
For our audiences at home, if you're just joining us, it's gone just past 14 GMT. That's 5 p.m. here locally in Doha, the capital of the state of Qatar. Let's remind you, of course, of our breaking news that the Israeli military has carried out airstrikes on Hamas leadership here in Qatar. Loud explosions could be heard in the capital and plumes of...
Warning after warning didn't stop famine from gripping Gaza. From aid blockades to attacks, CNN has deconstructed how step by step parts of Israel's military campaign led to this famine by choking off food and water to the population of Gaza. And each finding we've put to the IDF.
So just to be clear, you're saying there is not famine in Gaza, according to the Israeli military?
Well, we're understanding there's a difficult situation on the ground.
But a difficult situation is different from famine.
We do not.
Trump. Leaders from some of the world's largest powers right now joining forces to take on the White House. And the images are striking. Russia's Vladimir Putin shaking hands and laughing with Chinese President Xi Jinping and India's Prime Minister Modi. At one point, even holding hands with Modi. The show of unity in China clearly designed to send a message to Trump and what Xi calls his, quote, bullying practices. The trio is notably about to be joined by another U.S. adversary, North Korea's Kim Jong-un. This is a picture of him in his bulletproof train, reportedly just now crossing into China. Kim steps onto the world stage fresh off a tour of his country's newest missile factory, one that North Korea claims is a cornerstone of its military expansion. A military that, according to Ukraine, is on the verge of sending up to 30,000 troops to Eastern Europe to provide Russia with more manpower. And as Trump watches these world leaders gather without him, he is lashing out at...
So, see what I mean? We literally have these people over there starving women and children out. They are blocking off water. They are doing horrible and horrendous things over there right now. And we're just okay with it. We got a lot of people out there who are diehard American fans, and like I get that too. Like, there's a lot of American things that I absolutely love. You know, like I love good American barbecue, hospitality. You know, I love Southern accents. I love all that kind of stuff. I love shooting guns. I like that you can go blow shit up there. Like, there's a lot of dope shit in America that you can do. So, you know, I get being proud of America. But being proud of America and being American doesn't mean you have to fucking support genocide. Like, I just don't understand it. It's not like Israel promises much more to America. Like, realistically, not really. You know, America's pretty self-sufficient. They can start getting their own shit going. You don't really have to have Israel as your main, like, alliance for whatever fucked up reason. You can see that a lot of the world right now is, like, taking a stance back. And they're being like, yeah, no, man, I'm not for that. Can you blame them? Like, who really wants to be tied up with that shit? Like, it breaks my heart because if you think about it this way, if bombs are just dropping on America right now, y'all would be crying. You'd be begging for help. You know, it'd be like 9/11 again. And 9/11 was fucking horrible. I was a kid and I watched that shit live on TV. I watched all of it. And then I watched them go to war. When I was in cadets, I got the privilege of being on the YAG ships, and we got to watch as, like, they picked up our soldiers, like the Americans picked up our soldiers, and they got to take them off to war and stuff like that. It was really cool. I got to experience a lot of stuff like that too, right? So, like, that shit was, like, it was devastating. You know, and the world came together to save America, to be there, to show support and love. You know, Canada, we had our fires. We had some pretty shitty, some pretty horrendous fires. You know, and America came to our call. You know, we had Mexico, we had all sorts of people from around the world come to our call back in like the 2003 fires and all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, that was dope shit. We came together in tragedy. That's what we're supposed to do, is come together in tragedy. We're not supposed to sit there and condone this shit. Like, look what's happening. Like, I dare you to go to YouTube and go to Reddit and go find some videos yourself. I personally, I have friends over there. I have friends in that part of the world and stuff like that. And they have seen devastation. They themselves are lucky to be just far enough away to not be directly affected by it. But they've got friends and they got family from all around there. And it is devastating. I've gone out of there, and I don't want to post a whole lot of that shit, you know, too much on there, on my page here. You know, it's going to be bad enough I'm going to swear a lot because I don't really give a fuck anymore. I'm kind of really pissed off about a lot of shit, and this is my venting thing. This is what I'm going to do to vent. I'm going to vent what I think to you guys. I'm going to vent world shit. Maybe I'll give you some cool shit to think about afterwards, but, like, I just don't want to make this such a nasty fucking, you know, channel, but I implore you to go and look it up yourself. Go watch these kids, these babies, these children. Like, children, like little babies, like kids that you would think that you'd still be holding down and walking around, being forced to walk on their own, and they're covered in blood. That shit's fucked up. And we're being okay with it. You heard that lady in that clip, that there cannot be a mosque and a synagogue together. That they want to make it all Jewish there again in Jerusalem. That's very worrying. And nobody is actually stopping them. Like, if I could, if I had the ability, if I had the money, and if I had my passport together, and I had the fucking ability, and someone was willing to take me in, I would fucking go over there too, and I would fight. I would fight for Palestine. I would fight for all of Pakistan. I would fight for all of those people. Because I'm so sick of sitting here watching this genocide. You know, it's fucking disgusting. And yet here we are, completely content with just watching it. And we're going, oh, Charlie Kirk. Oh, Charlie Kirk. Oh, poor Charlie Kirk. Fuck Charlie Kirk. You want to know someone cool? Look up Joshua Wong. You know who Joshua Wong was? He was 15 years old. He started the only Democratic Party in China. This fucking kid at 15 years old wanted to change China. Hundreds of thousands of people started following him to fight for democracy. This kid did hunger strikes and everything. He almost died. I think it was like 30 days or something like that almost, that he went and fasted for. There's a whole documentary on Netflix. I think it's literally called Joshua Wong. But he went and fasted, and the government knew that he was fasting himself to death, and they were literally just going to let him die until they arrested him, and he was arrested for like 2 years. And he came out, and he became the leader of, like, I think it's like the People's Democratic Party of China. I think that's what it's called. That guy is amazing. If that guy got shot and killed, that would be a tragedy. That guy actually fought for democracy. That guy, Joshua Wong, actually brought people together. And he wasn't a fucking racist either. There are plenty of videos out there that can corroborate what I'm saying, what a lot of people are saying. And it's not just, I'm not like a leftist, not really liberal like I was for a long time. I was also raised conservative as well. So I've seen both sides of the track. I also went to school, and I got really well educated on how things work and stuff like that. And I can confidently tell you that all the parties are fucking garbage. They're fucking garbage. As someone who is 36 years old in 2025, I have a hard time finding a party that can actually align with, because they're all fucking stupid. They all say stupid shit. And I don't really agree with all of them. I agree more, unfortunately, with the liberals kind of stuff and stuff like that, but like not a lot of it. I definitely don't agree with the conservatives not taxing the rich people and, kind of being bigoted and racist and stuff like that. I'm not for that. Yes, there are racist people on the left side of the tracks. 100%. Doesn't mean I fucking abide by them either. I don't know where I lie politically anymore. I like a bit of everything on both sides of the track, and that's my problem. Is no one speaks to me. There's no one that I can vote for. So confidently, they're all fucking shitty. So I don't really care what your like political view is, your creed, your religion. I don't give a shit. That's on you. Right? I don't fucking care. What I care about is seeing the world become a better place. We don't need more Charlie Kirks in it. I'm sorry again to his family. You guys deserve to have a dad. But we don't need more bigoted fucking people like that going around stirring shit up. Just for the sake of doing it. We don't need that. We need more Joshua Wongs. We need more people to step up to the plate. To be like, I've had enough. This is disgusting. Why are we doing this? Why does it have to take such a big tragedy here at home in North America for us to like unify together to try and make the world a better place? Because like I said, after 9/11, after our big fires and stuff like that, we in North America, we became really tight with each other. We were tight. I miss when we had our open borders. I miss when we could just cross. We should be able to do that. Why don't we get back to that? Why don't we just get back to like us being able to cross our own borders and being friendly again? Why tax each other so much? Why? Why? Why make life harder for us here at home? In most of Europe, I know that they're starting to change things, but they got like open borders, and they've been doing that a lot. And they benefited from that for a long time. I miss when we were just like buddy buddy with America, and you guys are buddy buddy with us up here in Canada. I miss all that stuff. I miss being able to just go down there and like be proud of who I am without worrying about pissing off someone down there. And vice versa for you guys. I'm sorry, America, but like a lot of people around the world hate you guys, and it's because of your political leadership and your inability to see what's really important in the world, it seems. And like it's not hard to change that. It's not hard. Just take a little more time to yourself. Breathe a little more. Stop getting radicalized about everything that you see on like the media. I like to get my sources from all over the place, from Al Jazeera, The Guardian, a little bit of CNN, a little bit of CBC, and stuff like that. I'll listen to some Fox. They've changed a lot now. They're not horrible like they used to be. For the most part, they've changed. So like there's a lot of things that I'll go out there and I'll listen to a little tidbit of everything. I'll get a point of view from everyone, so I can have more of an understanding as to what's going on in the world. And it just seems, in my perspective, that there's a lot of people down there and up here that aren't doing that. Y'all are just listening to your fucking one-sided bullshit. And it's bullshit. It makes no sense. I don't understand how you can just sit there and just be like, oh yeah, you're wrong. Fuck you. You're both wrong. Everyone's fucking wrong. There is a right in there somewhere. Somewhere in all that shit is a right place. You know, and it takes time and it takes work and effort. And I can confidently again tell you that we're not there. Everyone needs to get off their high horses. You know, there's real shit happening out there in the world, and we should be preparing ourselves. We should be unifying again. We should all be helping each other become sustainable. You know, like we should go and have massive community gardens instead of like massive acres of like properties. They've got like fucking mansions with like 35 rooms and shit like that, and it's like 500,000 acres. You know what I mean? Like just stupid shit. You know, like yeah, sure, the idea, oh cool mansion, that would be kind of cool for sure. Yellowstone, that's a dream. I love that shit. You don't see it right now. I wear cowboy hats, not ball caps. I got a fucking cow rug right there on my couch. For fuck's sakes. I've got like llamas and chickens and roosters. I got animals all around me. We're going to be getting turkeys and pigs back here again. You know, like I live a fucking cowboy life. And I love that shit. I've got my property over here with my stepdad and my mom and whatnot. And, you know, we'll be building up a garden come the springtime again. We'll be getting some help. We'll be fixing everything up. You know, and like life will be good. You know, and I implore that everyone do something similar. We should help each other out, though. We should reach out. We should just be neighbors. Let's have giant gardens. Let's go hunting with each other. Let's listen to the First Nations of our land here, for Christ's sake. I live on the reserve here in the Okanagan, and I am privileged and lucky to be here. There's a lot of people here that want to teach, and I love that. You know, and we should be listening to those kind of people. Let them go hunt. Let us tame our gardens. Like, let's unify. You know? We could just do that. We could be a whole. There is no need to be greedy when we've got so much land and we've got so many tools. We have the capability of greatness, of leaving a massive and like positive impression on this earth for the first time in human existence. Because look what we've done. Since our existence, we have like caused wars upon each other, murder. We got fucking the Bible that talks about horrible stories, the Quran that talks about horrible stories. We have like all sorts of shit out there. And it's riddled with darkness. You know, we have the technology and the capability now in 2025 to just gather together. You know, like there's more room in Texas. You know, I should rephrase that. There's enough room in Texas to pretty much put the world's population in it twice. That's huge. If we were all standing there side by side, you know, shoulder to shoulder, that's a lot of room. And here we're complaining about like there's not enough room, you know, climate change, and you know, we need more oil and blah blah blah. And we really don't. If we go back to being a little more minimalistic, we could like survive longer and we could survive more wholesomely. You know, and that's what we should be doing instead of this division that we have right now: Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, NDP, Green Party, you know, Muslim, Christian, Jew, Palestinian. Like, fuck. Like, can we have a little more division? I don't think we have enough division in our life. I don't know, you tell me. Because for me, I'm quite fucking sick of it. I've, you know, born in 89, raised in the Okanagan. You know, I've seen a lot of shit. Had family member who was murdered by Picton. I've had a shit ton of friends kill themselves. A bunch of friends killed in gangs. Got a bunch of friends overdose. I've got my whole life story, which is fucked up in its own. You know, and I'm writing a book about that, so we'll get into that another time. You know, like, watch 9/11 happen, watch all these wars in the Middle East happen. I don't like most of my life there hasn't really been a time of peace. You know, you might fucking hate it, but like Barack Obama was pretty peaceful. He had to deal with all that shit that he had to deal with. You know, unfortunately, he dropped more bombs than any other president in history. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to compare him to Trump these days, but you know, like we had Bush, fucking war frenzy over there. You know, like everything was just like, it's all I've seen is war. Not enough peace. Not enough trying, not enough effort. You know? So I don't know, guys, it's kind of defeating and it really fucking pisses me off. Like I don't think I'm crazy about this. Right? I don't think I'm crazy. I think I'm just really fucking angry. Like I'm just really unhinged. I just want to scream. But trying to be a better person. And that's part of me doing this channel, is so I can convey my emotions, my feelings in a healthy manner. And I just had to get a lot of this shit off my chest because I'm just so fucking angry with it all. I've been sitting here calling this shit happening in the East for a long time. A long time. And nobody wanted to listen to me. You know, I've been seeing what's happening with Israel, and it's devastating because the way I was raised is, especially after 9/11, we were always told, fuck the Muslims and fuck the gays and fuck that. And, you know, we all just got to unify in Christ and all that kind of shit. You know, and so I grew up pretty hostile. I grew up hating gay people. I grew up fucking hating Muslims. I grew up just hating. Just hating everyone. That was my life for so long. So angry. And it breaks my heart because, like, there's a lot of that time in my life where if I was nicer, things probably would have gone a lot easier. Would have probably had some more friends. Could have probably saved some more people. But I spent a lot of that time being angry. And I think that's why I'm kind of really passionate about just wanting to see the world become a better place. And I really just hope that some of you out there are just willing to pick up that torch with me. You know, I really hope that you're willing to try and make the world a better place, to try and make things good, because we're all busy pretending that things are good when we all know that it's not. And it very well could be if we just put a little effort into that. You know, so if you're like me and you want to do better and see better and try to do better and, you know, and maybe make life better for the future, make life easier and simpler for ourselves, you know, just get a hold of me. You know, I'll leave my social media handles at the end of this, and, you know, feel free to just reach out, drop a line, like say something. I would love to just get to know some more people like me. I would just like to get to know more people in general, whether you agree with me or not. Okay? I'm not in this to literally argue with you. I don't want to argue with you. I like having perspective and points of view. I have friends from all over the spectrum. All over the spectrum. Whether they be white supremacists, to like modern day Black Panthers, to some Crips and Bloods, to some First Nations gangs, to like all over the place, man. Whether you're Muslim, you're Christian, you're Catholic, you're Taoist, it doesn't fucking matter to me. I don't care what walk of life you're from. I don't care what religion or cult. I don't care. I just want to know you. I want to learn more. I essentially want to study your way of life and living. Maybe you can teach me some things that I could teach, the rest of the world here. It just seems to me that there's not enough people here trying and willing to just listen and put the effort in. So, like, if you're like me, just reach out. Even if you're not like me, I just want to know more. I want to hear your perspective. And as time goes on, and I'll try and find more interesting things to talk about and stuff like that. But I think for now, for my first video here, I think it's really important that we just take these things into consideration. We have each other in a world that is dark and scary and dingy. We've got each other. We've got the technology. We've got the know-how. Like, we've seen history repeat itself many, 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 many times. And maybe you just want to change that with me. Maybe you just want to make things better. And I would love to know you. Maybe working together, maybe we can, like, make things better. But I can't do it by myself. But I'm sure as hell gonna try. I'm gonna try my damnedest to be my best. I'm gonna do everything I can to prepare myself for what's gonna happen next in this world. And I would just love to have more friends. I don't have many friends these days. Life has been long and complicated, and I've gone through a lot of fucking bullshit. Like, a lot of bullshit. So I've isolated myself, and I've been forced to isolate myself, and I'm sick of it. I don't want to isolate anymore. I don't want to be like that. And I really hope that you guys don't want to be like that either. Because look what's happening. Look what's happening with those children. Look what's happened to all those innocent people. And then we've essentially got a super alliance building up as well. Whilst the ones in America are falling to pieces. In Canada, we're not fucking prepared for shit. We're pretty much fucked. So. Yeah, guys. So, like I said, man, I would love for you guys to reach out. I'd love to get to know you guys, and and maybe we could just make the world a better place. Okay? Hope you guys have yourself a great day. And, please go ahead and subscribe, scan that badge, and, just follow my journey. And let's just see where we go in life. All right? I hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys have a safe weekend. All right? And just remember to breathe. Remember to love each other. All right? Take care.